Okay, so if you're interested in getting a really strong and firm and toned lower body from the waist downwards, there are 3 movements that you really need to build your workout around to make sure that you're ticking all the fundamentals off and you're getting a really good, strong, firm foundation through your lower body. Now, these aren't the only 3 movements that you'll ever need to do, but these are the 3 main core parts of your workout that I think you should be doing probably every time that you're working your lower body as a minimum to make sure the main muscles are ticked off. Okay, so the first movement of these 3 is a squat based movement. Now, this is super common. A lot of people have heard of this kind of thing or tried this thing before, but there's a lot of different variations of a squat. So when I talk about a squat, it might conjure up an image in your mind of, you know, maybe a bar on your back and loads of weights, and it might be really intimidating, but that isn't necessarily what you need to do. That might be a lot more progress than you're ready for right now. So when we have ladies in our ladies only over 40s group in here, the movement we start them on is a lot more regressed. It's a lot more basic to learn the mechanics of a squat, and it's going to be working your thighs and your bum muscles on your glutes here. So walk over here with me and I'll show you. We usually have a bench about this high. Now this comes up, and I'm just short of 6 foot, it comes up just below my knees here. So if you can find something around this height, that's probably about right for most people. Your results might be different, but most people is about right for them. Maybe it's between 15 and 18 inches off the ground. Now what we do is we ask them to sit down and stand up in a certain way, and that's going to teach you how to squat. So you've got a safety, so you're not hurting yourself down at the bottom there, and you've also got a standard of how low you go, because sometimes it's really difficult to know how far down to go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go through a squat. We're going to go hip width stance with your feet. You have your chest up tall, and you go nice and slowly, push your bum out, push your knees forward and out, sit yourself down completely, push through the floor. That's where you start with learning a squat, and that should be, I would say, the first movement that you base your lower body workouts around, or when you're working out your lower body. That's the most fundamental movement that you can learn, sitting down and standing up. If that becomes too easy, you can use weights. If it still becomes too easy, you can get rid of the bench and you can just do it free there, or you can elevate your heels. And then if that's still too easy, that's when you can move on to one of the squat racks we've got in the corner down there, where you've got the bar and you can put the bar on your back, but that's not for everybody. Okay, so start at the most basic and work your way up. So that's the first movement, the squat. Now, the second movement I would say is what we call a hip hinge movement, where we don't move the lower body and we don't move the upper body. The body hinges from the hip joint here. So if I turn to the side and show you, it's any kind of movement where we're going to be hinging the body at the hips, and we're going to be stretching out the glutes and the hamstrings there, and then we're going to be pushing the hips forward. So it's a horizontal movement where you push your hips back, you push your bum out behind you there, and then you push your hips forward and push and use your glutes to move your hips up and move your torso up by extension of that. Now this again could be a wide array of different things. One of the most basic things you can do is have a supported version, one of which we've got over there, which is a 45-degree hip extension where you've got something to push into. One of the most common ways that we do it with the ladies in the group is we'll do something called an RDL, which stands for Romanian deadlift. And this, essentially you have a weight in each hand or a bar, so I'll quickly show you with these legs. So you might have a weight in each hand like this, and you'll hold them close to your thighs, and these are just to weigh you down. So you're doing the exact same movement. You're hinging from the hips, you're pushing your hips back there to stretch the backs of your legs, and then you're squeezing your bum muscles and you're pulling forward. You're not lifting right up from your chest there, because that's going to work your back too much. You hinge from the hips and you pull forward there, and that's how we work the basics of a hip hinge movement. There's other more complex versions like a rack pull or a deadlift that you can graduate to afterwards, but learning the basics of a hip hinge is a fantastic way to get the second movement nailed in your lower body workouts. Now, movement number 3 is where we'll work the backs of the legs, the hamstrings a little bit more, and this is the only isolation movement, meaning we'll work one muscle across one joint. The others are compound movements where we'll work multiple joints and muscles. So this is where we'll do something like a leg curl, which is this piece of equipment here. Now again, this works your hamstrings, and what we'll do is we'll sit on this and we will push the weight down to contract those muscles. So I'll quickly show you as I'm talking. We'll sit down here, we'll put your legs on top here. This thing goes trapping in. Most gyms have one of these. The vast majority of gyms will have a version of this. It might not look exactly like this one, but they will have a version of this. And what you'll do there is you'll keep your ankles nice and loose, and you'll pull the weight down as far as you can by bending your knees, and then slowly let it go up. And this is going to, again, work the backs of your legs there, okay? Because most people, especially most women who've been maybe doing sedentary jobs or sit down for a living a lot by working in an office or driving or anything like that, they have really weak posterior chains through the glutes and the hamstrings. So doing things like the hip hinge and the leg curl is going to really help strengthen that to take the pressure off your lower back and your hips a little bit more. I really hope that helped, and drop a comment below if you have any questions.